Imagine with me that you're going to run a marathon. Okay, if you're like me, that's sort of a stretch of the imagination, but work with me. Running the marathon was the first choice. Then you decide you're going to run a specific marathon put on by your favorite charity. And then you set your goal that you would like to at least finish in the top 20 in your age group. You've made those basic decisions, but since you've never run a marathon, how do you start? If you haven't figured it out by now, what I'm really talking about is writing a speech or presentation. You've been asked to give an informative speech or presentation, and it's for a specific event, and you know which audience you'll be speaking to. You know what you hope to accomplish. But the question is, once you've taken these steps and made these decisions, how do you begin? You start by gathering supporting research materials. With an informative and a persuasive speech, in particular, a guiding principle is that you need to share researched information. Unless you're an expert who has conducted specific research, what the audience needs is for you to share reliable, quality information that you have gathered. Let's talk a few minutes about gathering and using supporting materials in your speech, and ask what are the best sources for your research, and then how do we use those materials? For most of us, when we're asked about something, our first response is to Google it, or go to Wikipedia, or possibly a website with the URL about.com. Don't do this first. And don't use Wikipedia or about.com in a speech. I want to encourage you to start with a place where you are most likely to find credible sources, your college library or public library. Most college libraries, like ours, provide significant access online to the kind of materials you need for your presentation. Begin by going to the library website and search for research journal articles, periodical, and credible news sources. Use the library online search for articles and databases. The library will also most likely have access to LexisNexis Academic that can search for news articles on almost any subject, but also remember, ask the librarian for assistance. The second place you should go to gather material is to look online for quality news sources like the New York Times, Washington Post, and other well-known national newspapers. Go to major news organization sites like CNN, NPR, Fox News, ABC, NBC, and CBS that might have information about your topic. The third place, then, is the internet. Make sure the sites that you're going to are not dedicated to advocating for a particular bias or an opinion. Make sure it's not a commercial site for a product. Make sure that it's not an entertainment site or a personal site. You are looking for highly credible news and research information. Use the triangle method. Try to find the same information in 3 separate places to make sure you are on the right track. Once you have found more than enough sources, if you need 4, I would have twice that many. You can always weed some out. Now you're ready to start organizing the information. You have already chosen your topic, considered who that you are speaking to, and determined your general purpose and specific purpose. But keep in mind that you might tweak your direction as you study your research. Always let your research guide you instead of just presenting references that back your preconceived opinions. Now start to organize the information. Whether you've printed out the pages of your information or written it out on note cards or post-it notes, or some other method of gathering the information, organize it. Group it into categories and ask yourself, which of my main points does this particular reference fall under? Remember, your main point is never the quote you find. The quote or other information belongs as a subpoint supporting the claim you make in your main point. Under each main point, your subpoints will be the researched information that helps this particular audience understand better, be convinced of the credibility of the information, and helps them connect the dots between the research and real life. Your subpoints will contain research that might be statistics or definitions of concepts or processes, or a quote from an expert that explains something. Now, your quote might be just that, a quote, or you might paraphrase that information. Your subpoints might be research that describes something, or in an effort to connect to the audience, you might use an analogy that takes the research information and puts it into a comparison that helps people to better understand. Always give proper credit with a clear oral citation for all researched information. The real picture to grasp when thinking about gathering and using supporting materials is that when you are giving an informative or persuasive speech, you might begin with a personal thought or idea. But what the audience needs is to hear the presentation of researched material that you have organized in a clear manner. Your job is to simply gather the expert information, give proper oral citations, and always be an audience-centered public speaker. See you in the next video.